Thank you for joining me in this extraordinary summer. What an extraordinary summer. Seems like the only possible response to what's going on in this world is prayer. And I'm a prayer artist, so thank you for joining me in prayer. We have a very clear purpose in these prayer vigils this summer, and that is to make love visible. And today you're going to see love made visible in images of the goddess created by a goddess herself, Kosharek, an artist in Rochester, Minnesota. I think you know me. I'm Janet Connor, and my task right now, and I think for the rest of my life, is to be a prayer artist. And that means remembering prayer. Prayer before patriarchy and prayer after patriarchy. It's this kind of original prayer that's going to carry us through this summer, this year, this illness, and into the creation of a way of living together that makes love visible. So let's begin by placing our water beside us. The water makes love visible, right? Science clearly indicates that without water, there is no life form. The first thing they look for when they are probing the moon, probing Mars, looking deeply out into space, they look for the presence of water. Water makes life visible. So place your water. And everything that you're about to experience in this prayer vigil will be in the water, and we will drink it together at the end. The first thing we want to place in the water is sound, and that is a picture of sound underwater. The Tibetan bowl calls us to really be here for a few moments. Know that you are present. Say it out loud. I'm here. And in this summer, the call is to open our hearts. Don't look away. Open our hearts. How can the divine feminine move through us if we are closed, if we are running away, if we are ostriches with our head in the sand? Speak the truth. I'm open. And now, if you're willing, speak this, because it feels that this is the call of the Mother Divine right now for every single one of us. She wants us to make love visible. We have had 5,000 years of cruelty and suffering made visible, and the time is now. Say it. I am willing to make love visible. Ooh, so soft. I doubt that even could be heard, but I guess that's the sound of love. Sometimes she's very fierce and sometimes she's very, very soft. So we begin with prayer, and it is with a painting, one of 350 from Kosharek. That particular one is called Alchemy. This prayer keeps evolving every time I say it. It's very clear to me now. It wasn't clear when I received it, that she is the one saying the prayer. She is speaking to us, and she says, if you want to make love visible, may you find strength. May you feel courage. May your skin crackle with the kiss of my blessing wind. Before you, beloved, there is hope, because I am before you. Behind you, I know there's 5,000 years of sorrow. But beside you, I am placing sacred companions in this life. And although you might not remember, they were there in all lives. Above you, my moonlight, below you, my earth dark, and in your womb, my seed, the seed of your one mother. If you want to make love visible, use your hands to caress and be caressed. Use your feet to dance once more, a dance of joy. And always and forever, never forget that your prayers do rise in the smoke. And may you breathe. One breath for yourself. Take that breath now. One breath for another, because that other you are breathing for is my beloved too. Now take a breath for me, for life herself. Now you know the rhythm. Do it again. One breath for yourself, because I love you. One breath for another, because I love that other. And one breath for my gift to all of you, life herself. One breath for yourself. That's my breath entering your lungs. One breath for another. Take it for someone who is taking their last breath. And a third breath to remember that you will breathe again in the next lifetime. Take a breath for life herself. This is how it was. This is how it is. This is how it ever shall be, because I created a world without end, life without end, and love without end. This is the truth. So we are so blessed to get to meet this magnificent artist of the goddess, Sue Kosharek. And before you get to meet her in person, I want to show you just a wee taste of some of her 350 goddesses. This is my sister Mary Elizabeth, Sue, and me with the first goddess painting that I met. And the goddess was completed during my very first Ho'oponopono prayer intensive with Kahulahela. And so the goddess she asked, call me Ho'oponopono. And this, Sue calls her cracking open a Black Madonna. No matter how many times I look at this painting, there is something more to see every time. Cathedral of my heart. This must be us right now. I look at her and I can feel the call to stop, rest. You cannot create a new world running. Stop and enter the cathedral of my heart, and I will feed you. You will know what is yours to do when you enter the cathedral of my heart. You see how precious these paintings are, so alive. But if I had to choose one, I love this painting so much I can't stand it. I burst into tears every time I look at her, and I have asked Sue to bring her with us today. She told Sue her name was Awakened Woman, but I took one look at her, and I don't know if you're allowed to do this, but for me, renamed her Radiant Blue. And here she is, Sue Kosharek and Radiant Blue. Oh, I think you have to unmute yourself.
Okay. Yep. Hi, Janet. Oh, thank you. That was beautiful. Oh, man. And so many memories, too, with each one of those. Yeah, this is Awakened Woman, and I often call her Radiant Blue myself.
So we get to see the finished
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when you come to our prayer intensives, sometimes we get to see the evolution. During the Black Madonna, the Mary Magdalene intensives, you said, well, here's kind of where I am. And then we'd get together a week later and there would be a little evolution. But here we are looking at Radiant Blue. And what I adore about working with you is the finished painting, but the process
Oh,
is
yeah.
so glorious. And you make these adorable videos, and I'll make sure everybody gets a link to go to your Facebook page to see the steps. But could you just tell us? I mean, how in the world did these goddesses come calling you in Rochester, Minnesota?
It, yeah, I mean, it started with a whole quest to understand how art can heal, and I got into a lot of different things, but eventually I stumbled into Shiloh Sophia McLeod and started taking some of her classes, and that is, I think, when I really started meeting the mother and the divine feminine. And I started, I guess, taking all of these wounds that I had onto the canvas, like you do in deep soul writing, but only, I with words sometimes, but with symbol and with color. And then I would watch as she would transmute them. I mean, you take them to the canvas, you lay them out there, and you let them go. And just being able to, say these things. And a lot of times when when you're painting, you're praying. You're like, I'm letting this go, and you're thinking about things like that. And so the painting is a prayer, and it becomes a prayer, and it transmutes a prayer. And it's like I've been led lately to go back to kind of like the beginning of these paintings, which were in 2013, and to start telling the stories, because each goddess has a story, and they almost all of them have given me messages, many times more than one, but I believe that some of the messages are relevant. So with this one, my intention, it's Awakened Woman, and it was started in 2013 during a class with Shiloh Sophia. And I started with my intention on the canvas, which my intention at that time was to see myself and my life in new ways, and to release and retell stories that hold me back. And so these could be stories of scarcity, of unworthiness, of failure, of not being enough, being a victim, things like that. Those are the things that I wanted to change. And that's a pretty tall order. So I put my intention on the canvas, and then I blessed it with holy water. And then I just usually put a spiral on it, just for the spiral of life. And that's usually how I start them. Then I chose 3 colors just to get started. And I did that in a spiral too. But one of the colors was to acknowledge what was in the past. And the next color was to acknowledge what is right now. And the third color is to acknowledge what will be. And then I varnished onto the canvas some of the stories and beliefs that I was ready to release. The ones that I knew I was aware of, and through the course of time, I found that these are so universal, these things that I'm dealing with. And I think that's one of the things that speaks to people in the images, because I'm painting this pain into here and on an energetic level. And I think that people can see the pain, but they can see the transmutation of the pain. So we've got things like worthlessness and failure, old hurts, inadequacies. And I collage those into the painting, and then I let them go. And I give them to her. Then I varnish onto the painting what I'm ready for, what I'm ready to welcome in, like abundance instead of scarcity, worthiness, being chosen, things like that. And I let this go too. I accept that, and I let it go, and I trust that she's going to make that happen as well. So then I start by claiming what's really at my core at this time. And I wrote that kind of in a spiral too, but what is at my center at that time, I said, was beauty, strength, sufficient, true, real, trustworthy, and wise. And so I wrote that, and I put that out there, and then I waited. And then she begins to emerge. And that's when the dialogue begins with her, and her face emerges. And when her face emerges, sometimes she gets very bossy. But I've learned to trust her. I do not, I've learned to trust. And I've learned to trust the process, because sometimes during this process I get scared, and sometimes she tells me to do things that I'm like, this could ruin everything. And she's like, do it, And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a picture just in case so I can say I told you so, but, it's just like you trust it. And she stayed in this once, and I painted with her for quite a while. And then she got to a point that she stayed at for 2 years. And this happens sometimes. It's like sometimes I get to a painting and it's like I don't know what to do next, and they're not telling me. And I'll look at it for 6 months, and I'll walk by, and then I'll hear something like owl, and then I'll put an owl in, and then it'll start going again. But she stayed that way for 2 years. And I think what happens at that point is that I have to be able to somehow assimilate or integrate these teachings into my life. And it's not ready to move on until I do. And so at that point, when I got to the point where the integration was ready, this is kind of what happened. It was like I was ready to let go of whatever was, and jump into the unknown with her. And the change between what was and what is now is quite a big difference in her, I believe, over the 2 years. And so looking back, there's a lot of symbolism in here. I see these leaves as turning over a new leaf, like letting old things go, old stories, even seeing new truths or finding new beauties in old stories, or, gifts or gems. And she's got the roses, which I believe are just, a symbol of the love of the mother. And she's got this dove, which I believe is the dove of shalom, which is, peace and wholeness and health, and, just the biophotons and the energy coming out. And she's got the Celtic trifecta cross there with the Vesica Pisces. So there's a lot of symbolism, and I don't even know what a lot of the things mean until much later. Just like, you do with your poetry, and it's like, who is saying this? I don't know. Is she saying it to me, or am I saying it, who? I don't know, you just go with it. Yeah.
And then is this true of all the paintings? You've sent me a few like messages. The Awakened Woman had a message. Does that come at the end?
Yeah, a lot of times it comes at the end, but sometimes during the whole process, they might be saying like there is one I remember that during the whole thing, she kept telling me, remember who you are, remember who you are. Just like her eyes, every time I looked at her eyes, that's what I heard. And some of them do that. So yeah, this one, do you want me to read the message that she had? Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Okay, so the Awakened Woman. She is adorned with leaves. They speak of her wisdom, tested in the fire and found worthy. This path of Awakened Woman is a quest to see ourselves and our lives in new ways. This is the path of letting go, of releasing, and retelling the stories that hold us back. She knows that she is up to the calling. She learns to acknowledge her gifts and use them in the service of love. She lets go of old thoughts, beliefs, patterns, things that now hold her back. She chooses the life that she knows she was born to live, one small step at a time, knowing that the universe fully supports her. And as she moves forward into the unknown, there is one thing that she does know. She knows that the only path she can travel is the one of awakening to her one true, authentic heart, soul, self.
And then, not knowing that you received these messages, I took one look at what I had to call her Radiant Blue. We were looking for a goddess to be our central image for the second Ho'oponopono intensive. The picture I showed you of the three of us around Ho'oponopono was for the first. And Sue sent several images. I took one look at this goddess. I don't know, does that have anything to do with hope? I just, oh my goddess, this is the painting. And in my mind, her name is Radiant Blue. And the very next day, this prayer came through. And I'm going to try to read it without crying. This is the mother of every one of us that holds every one of us, the mystical body of the goddess. And she says, I'm African, not African. I am Polynesian, not Polynesian, European, not European, Indigenous, not Indigenous, Asian, not Asian, Inuit, not Inuit, Latin, not Latin. I am black. I am brown. I am bronze. I am butter. I am blush. Freed from all my histories, freed from ancient wounds, freed from all the stories that have chased me down through time, unchained, unfettered, unsilenced, unhidden, my heart of light dissolves into light, and I begin to glow. I am radiant now, so radiant, I have turned blue. I am me, not me. I am you, not you. I am us, not us. I am them, not them. I am all that is sacred, all that is precious, all that is love. I am who I was and who I ever will be. The first light shines through me now, and I am radiant blue. I have never received a prayer quite like that. I
Yeah,
don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand it. I just know when a prayer like this comes through that it's true. Just as Radiant Blue in all her glory comes off the page. So this feels like such a perfect communion. She speaks to you on the canvas. I take one look at her and she speaks to me on the page.
Oh yeah, Janet, it's just so amazing. And that's one of the things that I guess I'm realizing in my life too, as far as making love visible is just releasing more of the story of these goddesses and their messages, just to give us all more food for thought about what is the divine feminine, and start, figuring out what that really looks like.
And that is the call of the summer of
Yeah.
2020, I think. We all have to make love visible, and we don't know exactly what that looks like. So within our water, as we drink our water, hear her once again say, I am who I was, and I am who I ever will be. The first light shines through me now. Only I'm certain she's saying, the first light shines through you now, and you are radiant blue.
Oh
That's the color we all are. We need to
yeah.
be radiant, radiant, radiant blue. Oh, what a glorious prayer vigil this has been. I know you all want to spend more time with Sue Kosharek. On Facebook, you can go to her special professional page, Muse Zings, and on it, she's going to post a video of the evolution of the awakened woman, Radiant Blue. You can see her emerging on the page. And if you'd like to purchase some of the prints, I have a fistful of them myself. You can go to Etsy, and then musing singular becomes one word. So I want to show you a few of those. Someday I want to have an original, a great big one. But look at these beautiful. So this is Ho'oponopono goddess. This is radiant blue. She's never far from me. This was she's dancing under the moon.
The moon dance, I think. Moon
Oh,
dance.
she's so gorgeous. This was Mary Magdalene, or is,
Yeah.
and she's
Not
filled with exquisite symbolism. This is the one we saw, the Cathedral
Yeah.
of the Heart. And this, of course, I adore.
Yeah.
And this was our one for Mother Ho'oponopono for Mother Earth. Look at that.
Yeah. That's right.
And you have so many on the Etsy.
Yeah. Yes.
So once again, Facebook is Muse Zings, and these links will be below this YouTube video, and musing at, Etsy. And if you'd like to watch all of these prayer vigils, a new one comes out every Friday. Come help me make love visible. Visit janetconnor.com/vigil. Oh, what a beautiful prayer vigil it was with the goddess. Does she have a last kiss for us?
I guess from John O'Donohue, she does. To be born is to be chosen. No one is here by accident. Each one of us was sent here for a very special destiny.
And I think the destiny right now is to make love visible.
Yeah.
In whatever way is ours. So
yes.
Please go in love and make love visible.
Yes.